In this module, we'll be talking about some of the common terms on Twitter. So one of the first things you're going to see is a home profile. Your home profile is where you're going to be seeing all of the people you follow and what they're saying. So it's essentially a constantly streaming source of information, and you'll see it constantly updating without you doing anything. So as long as your screen is open, you will see that being updated. So you will see that on your home profile. There'll be some suggested people to follow, and it'll also give you some of your stats, like the number of tweets you've had over the entire lifetime you've been on Twitter, how many people you'll be following, and how many people who are following you. The other view you're going to see is your profile timeline, and this is all about you. It will be where people see your expanded bio, your location, for example, when you join Twitter. And it'll also be a place where you can see the tweets that have had the most impact. And the tweets that have had the most impact are going to be bigger. They're actually Twitter makes them larger than any other tweet on that profile timeline. So you'll be able to get a sense of which tweets are most influential, which tweets actually work, which tweets are really have the right kind of lingo, the right kind of appeal, and you can begin to get a sense of what effective tweeting looks like. So especially when you're beginning, it's really helpful to go to your profile timeline and see which tweets are really causing some sort of pickup in conversation. A couple of really common terms on Twitter. The most common and basic term is a retweet. And a retweet is essentially a reposting of someone else's tweet. Now, Twitter's retweet feature helps you and others quickly share that tweet with your followers. And all you essentially do is press retweet. You don't see anymore on Twitter the RT automatically, but often people will put that RT there to signify a retweet. Instead, now you'll see over the retweet who retweeted the tweet. So you can see retweets your followers have retweeted in your home timeline. Retweets like regular tweets will not show up from people you've blocked. Retweets you have retweeted, if you retweet someone you follow, it will be visible on your profile timeline. If you retweet someone you do not follow, it will be visible on your home and your profile timeline. So just things to keep in mind about what you want to be public and visible to other people. So probably the best thing to know about a retweet is that it's a way of directly endorsing something somebody has said. It's a way of directly showing that you want that information to be said. It's a way to say, I don't need to change anything here. This is something you need to know. This is an expert I trust. It's a way of signaling to that person that you actually really like what they say. So a retweet is very powerful for that sense of conversation. It's also important to know that that retweet is really endorsing whatever that person has said or sent or linked to as something you believe your followers should really be reading. Another common term on Twitter is a modified tweet. So if you manually retweet a message, if you want to copy somebody's tweet but you don't want it to be the exact same tweet, usually what you'll write in front of it is a modified tweet. So you'll post what the person has said in maybe some short form and then add your own comment. So you'll use probably, maybe 50 characters to repeat their tweet, and then you'll signal something of your own opinion. And so that's a modified tweet. You put an MT there. So it's using some characters of your own to make room for a comment, but still using the username and that of the original poster and what they have said to signal that you still endorse their content. Now let's talk about the different uses of the @sign. Many people are confused about the different uses of the @sign. Of course, this @sign is going to go in front of a Twitter handle. And what that @sign is a way of addressing someone you would like to have a conversation with. No matter where you put that @sign in the tweet, that person will see that you have tweeted at them in their notifications. So make sure that you know if you want to talk to somebody directly, you have that @sign present. It's a sign of attribution when you retweet a message by a user. People also use it in other ways, such as suggesting users to follow. People use it to engage with people who may not be paying attention to them and directly signal they would like to have a conversation. You can send an @message to anybody, whether or not they follow you. And you will see these @replies and notifications. An important thing to know is that if you send an @message to somebody who does not follow you, it will not be visible to people who are not following both you and the person you've sent that @reply to. So here's something that most people don't know, and I want to make sure that you don't make this mistake. If you send somebody a message and you start it with an @ and name, the only people who will see your message are people who follow you and the person you replied to. I can't stress how important it is for you to know that if you start a message with an @ name, the only people who will see your message are the people who follow you and the person you replied to. So the only way it will show up is if people are following both of you. So how do you, if you want this tweet to be public, if you want people to see that you're having a conversation with somebody really important, if you want people to see that you're engaging in a public debate, and this person is really famous and they don't actually care to follow you, what do? The simplest thing to do is just put a period at the beginning of the tweet. Put a period, then the @ sign, and it's very much going to be visible to all of your followers. So that's the way that you signal that you're having a conversation with somebody directly, but you want everybody to see it. So that simple period or a dash will work too, is a way of making sure your conversation gets seen. Another way to do this is simply to put that person's handle in the body of a tweet as well. One of the ways you'll see that @ sign, if people have used the @ sign to communicate with you, is when you go to your notifications, you'll see everybody who's tried to communicate with you, favorited something, retweeted something, you'll see new followers. So this notification page gives you a real sense of who's engaging with you. It will also give the person you're trying to have a conversation with a sense of who's trying to communicate with them. Something people sometimes forget about on Twitter is the direct message. And the direct message is essentially like an inbox for people on Twitter. I have found that sometimes the best way to get in touch with very busy people who are active on Twitter is actually to direct message them. So I found particularly busy people in the UK journalism world are better at direct messaging than emailing, which I find very interesting. So direct messaging is a really good way to communicate with those people. So if you're having trouble getting an email response and you follow somebody on Twitter and they follow you, try direct messaging them. Something to know about a direct message. When you use the @username, right, it's going to appear in my @username inbox on Twitter. But the only way you can direct message people, often called a DM, is if somebody follows you. So you can only DM people who follow you, and that's basically the restriction on making sure that this stays personal.